thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
Todd, is your voice low?
No, just Todd. Todd, you there?
I don't know. Is it low?
There you go.
Oh, you got like some filter on your voice going on or something today.
No filter.
You sure? It sounds like it. Anyways, good morning, you guys. It is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. Today is National Flannel Day, Todd.
National Flannel Day.
There we go. Now you sound right. Yeah,
good.
National Flannel Day, Todd.
Well, I'm sorry I'm not wearing flannel.
You know,
You didn't get the memo?
shout out to lumberjacks
Clearly
everywhere.
did not get the memo. You know, if you can get us the list of days, that we're doing each day, dress appropriately.
Gee, no. Maybe we'll work on that in 2027, Todd.
All about goals.
Yeah. Hey, we set benchmarks. That's for sure. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that we're hitting realistic goals, not just saying that we're going to do things for the sake of doing them, Todd, like other people that we know.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. It's also National Home Warranty Day.
Interesting day to have.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Then let's see, what else do we have? What else do we have going on today? We got a few other things going on today too. Let's see. It's also National Umbrella Day. I mean,
It's always good to celebrate the umbrella.
Yeah, umbrellas, they keep you dry.
They do?
Yes, when it's moist outside.
I think it's an underrated invention.
It is.
I agree.
I have a really, really extra fancy umbrella.
Doesn't shock me.
Like it's super over the top. You know where I got it, Todd? You're gonna love this.
Probably Florida, where it rains a lot.
No, I got it in Germany. At the Mercedes-Benz factory. And it's a Mercedes-Benz umbrella.
Look at you.
It's very, very fancy umbrella. It's like top of the line. Top.
It's nicer than your car.
You're just saying that because I drive a BMW, Todd. Funny. It's also Safer Internet Day today. Let's see, safer internet. What the hell do they mean by that, safer internet?
Yes,
day?
I was going to ask.
Let's see.
Well, it's probably to try to keep GOP predators offline and away from children.
I would hope so. Safer Internet Day brings tools, education, and awareness to create a safer internet for both kids and adults. From cyberbullying and identity theft to fraud and human trafficking, the internet can be a frightening place. And Safer Internet Day and connectsafely.org aim to make the internet a safer place. Oh, yes, this is totally a promotion for connectsafely.org. But that's all good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all good. You know what I mean? Very interesting. Very interesting. And, I think this might be my favorite part of today, you guys. This just might be. Today is also National Cream Cheese Brownie Day.
And there's not too many things better than a cream cheese brownie.
And man, I'll tell you what, Todd, the picture of them, they look so good. They look so good. Oh, man. Oh. Cream cheese.
You gonna be okay over there? You need a minute?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. You good?
Oh, they look so good. I wish I had one right now. But anyways, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And man, oh man, you guys, the New York Times, the editorial board calls for guardrails for cannabis after they backed legalization and the whole program in New York, you guys. That's right. The New York Times editorial board walked back its year-long support of marijuana legalization in a Monday editorial, writing that the U.S. has recently gone too far in accepting and even promoting its use. In the piece, the editorial board conceded that some of its past positions on legalization no longer hold up, including its initial assessment that marijuana addiction and dependence are relatively minor problems, especially compared with alcohol and tobacco. What the hell are these guys talking about? That is a relatively minor problem. This doesn't even exist. It's total fake news. Anyways, the Times editorial board has long argued in support of marijuana legalization, urging the federal government to repeal the national ban on marijuana in a 2014 series entitled Repeal Prohibition Again. But in its latest piece, the board writes that new evidence raises concerns about the possible ramifications of the widespread use of pot. In a quote, "Given the growing harms from marijuana use, American lawmakers should do more to regulate it. It's time for America to admit that it has a marijuana problem." And the paper argues that marijuana use should remain legal, but that policymakers have taken too much of a hands-off approach. The editorial board cites data from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, showing that approximately 18 million people in the U.S. use marijuana almost daily, and that many millions more use it on a weekly or semi-frequent basis. Well, that's great numbers for the cannabis space. Over the last decade and a half, 40 states have legalized cannabis for medical use, and 24 states have legalized it for adult use for people 21 years or older. And since then, the number of Americans suffering from adverse health conditions linked to marijuana use has skyrocketed. That's total bullshit, but whatever. With several more states, including South Carolina, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, currently mulling legalization efforts, the editorial board warned that the legalization effort thus far has led to worse outcomes than many Americans expected. The editorial board members made it clear they do not support efforts to recriminalize the drug, instead calling for a new approach that balances personal freedom and public health. A better approach would acknowledge that many people end up worse off when they start to use marijuana more frequently, the editorial board wrote. The goal should not be elimination. It should be to slow the recent rise and perhaps partly reverse it, while acknowledging that many people use marijuana safely and responsibly. Sounds like they're talking out of both sides of their ass, but whatever. The framework would include a federal tax on marijuana and restrictions on marijuana products with extremely high THC levels, and more stringent regulation of false or misleading advertising about the drug's possible benefits. President Donald J. Trump signed an executive order in December aimed at expediting the reclassification of cannabis from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 under the CSA, and putting the drug on par with steroids or Tylenol mixed with codeine. But Republicans in Congress remain largely opposed, with dozens of legislators pushing the president to hold off on the reclassification effort. Well, guess what, Republicans? You're pushing on the wrong person, because it's the DOJ's job and HHS's job to do this, not the president's, but nonetheless. But still, marijuana will remain a controlled substance that's illegal for most people to possess under federal law. The New York Times editorial board cautioned that federal action is needed as states forge ahead with legalization efforts, and they say, leaving taxes and regulations to the states threatens to create a race to the bottom in which people can cross state lines to buy their pot. Congress can set a floor, as It has done, however, inadequately with alcohol and tobacco, and states can build on it as they choose. Well. Sounds like the New York Times maybe got sold recently, and all of a sudden they have a new board. And they have totally changed their shift on cannabis, and the fact that they are gaslighting the public right now, saying that cannabis is this and this and that, and there's so many harms that come from using cannabis now that it's just promoted is just total BS. What do you guys have to say about this?
Tell me what they are. Tell me what they are.
CHS, Liz. They're talking about CHS, which is just total bullshit.
Hi, I'm Todd, and I'm a marijuana-holic.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Absolutely.
You know, the fact that they're still saying it's bad for you and it causes death and destruction and it's just not an argument anymore. You know what I mean? It's just not.
It's laughable.
They need can you imagine that, Todd? Marijuana Anonymous, they'd be called Ma. Like, I'm going to go see Ma. All my friends at Ma. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. I'm Todd.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to marijuana.
Yeah. Even though there's no addictive properties in cannabis.
Serious, right. No. What happens is all the really addicted folks to some serious drugs, they just look at the marijuana guy and go,
Exactly.
You can be addicted to literally anything. Anything. My ex-mother-in-law was hospitalized for a week because she had an addiction to suppositories.
Was that really her addiction?
Yeah.
That was a little too much information.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying.
It is, but, you know, they can say this about pot, but you know what? Everybody has a different addiction.
I could think of a few different groups that they could say has that same addiction, Liz.
But it was an addiction.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting stuff. I just, you know, the gaslighting is unreal in this. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look on thing and I'm gonna ask. Oh, actually, you know what I should do? I should go to Grok and ask Grok. We're gonna ask Grok.
Grok is good. I like Grok.
Yeah, was the New York Times recently sold? Let's see what Grok has to say. Let's see. What do you have to say, Grok? Searching the web. Oh no, they say no. It was not sold, has not been sold recently. As of February 2026, it remains a publicly traded new company on the New York Stock Exchange, with Otis Schlussberger family maintaining controlling interest through a dual-class stock structure, primarily via Class B shares with enhanced voting rights. Leaderships includes A.G. Sulzberger as chairman and publisher and Meredith Kopit Levin as president and CEO. And recent financial news shows strong growth, including adding 1.4 million digital subscribers in 2025, ending the year with about 12.78 million total subscribers and significant cash reserves. There's no indications of a sale, merger, or change in ownership. Interesting. Well, very, very, very interesting New York Times, but
strange.
Yes. Yes, I guess they're just flip-floppers over there at the New York Times. That's all I can say.
It makes no sense.
Makes no sense at all. But you know,
somebody's pockets have been lined.
Someone's pockets have been lined. Probably Project Sam was using some of their last funds from USAID to give over to the New York Times. But on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back.
Yes.
Oh,
Post-train
yes.
haze.
Yes. And, and Hawaii Sustainable in the chat, he says, according to ChatGPT, it says, yes, historically there were documented ties, overlaps, and cooperation between the CIA and the New York Times, especially during the Cold War. So it's very possible that the whole article is a total psyop, Todd. Just trying to promote this crazed narrative around cannabis as it keeps continuing to grow and grow and grow. Anyways,
Is the typical Republican message.
it's not Republican, Todd. It's prohibitionist. Prohibitionist comes in
Same thing.
Democrat. Prohibitionist
Same thing.
comes in Republicans and Democrats. That's cute. It's cute. It's nonetheless.
They come mostly red.
No, they don't. They actually come mostly blue. They just disguise it better. But
God.
Republicans will just tell you the truth. Democrats will just lie to you. But it's okay. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? People love lies. You know what I mean? Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. Tell me lies. Anyways, Todd. I got it. So we covered this story yesterday in regards with this Yost lawsuit in Ohio. And I think it's going to have some serious repercussions for the cannabis industry and particularly for the MSOs that are all involved and mentioned in this suit, because the Ohio Attorney General sues marijuana MSOs alleging price fixing and cannabis cartels, you guys. And the Ohio Attorney General says in a quote, calls the marijuana MSOs of running a cannabis cartel, in a quote. And so what happened? We covered this whole lawsuit yesterday, and we found their response and whatnot. So we're going to cover that. We're skipping a portion of this story, and we're going mainly into their responses, because it says in the lawsuit, Yost claims these firms are actively suppressing competition and have engaged in the same cartel conduct in other states, not just Ohio, using 3 techniques: the use of reciprocal supply agreements and dispensary shelf space allotments, in which the MSOs agree to buy each other's products in multiple states, exchanging competitively sensitive non-public information and implementing discriminatory supply arrangements and promotional terms. Until now, the cartels' activities have gone unchallenged, the lawsuit states. The language particularly describing cannabis companies as a cartel is similar to how the legal industry is described by prominent anti-legalization organization Smart Approaches to Marijuana Project SAM. And cannabis companies responded to the Ohio antitrust lawsuit. MJ Biz Daily contacted several companies for comment. Jushi Holdings says Jushi is aware of the complaint filed in Franklin County, Ohio. Trent Wolvack, a chief strategy officer for Jushi, said in a statement, "We respectfully disagree with the allegations against Juicy and believe the complaint reflects several mischaracterizations. We are concerned that the investigation appears to have solely focused on publicly traded operators such as Jushi and neglects the fact that Jushi has and continues to do significant business with dozens of Ohio single-state operators on terms that do not provide potential or preferential treatment to any class of operator. We intend to vigorously defend our company while remaining focused on providing safe, high-quality cannabis products to Ohio patients and consumers at competitive prices," he says. In a statement, a spokesperson for Green Thumb Industries said the company does not comment on pending litigation. An Ohio cannabis antitrust investigation has begun with a whistleblower complaint, you guys, because according to Yost, an investigation began after his office received a tip on October 24th from an Ohio cannabis industry employee. The anonymous tipster claimed the cannabis MSOs were colluding with one another to prioritize one another's products in Ohio dispensaries while reducing or eliminating purchases from independent Ohio cultivators and processors. These reciprocal purchasing agreements between the MSOs were negotiated at a national level, Yost said, and adult use marijuana sales began in August of 2024 in Ohio with a record $1.06 billion with a B dollars in cannabis sales in 2025, the first year of legalization. The Ohio adult use market landscape is there are 190 stores that sell both medical and adult use cannabis in the state, where local restrictions are limiting growth opportunities for new businesses, according to recent state data. And a statewide license cap of 400 permits goes into effect in March. Cannabis companies, big and small, favor limited license markets as the antidote to the supply gluts and price compressions take effect. Markets without caps, such as California, Michigan, and Oregon. An Ohio law allows vertically integrated cannabis operators, but caps companies to no more than 8 medical marijuana dispensary licenses and 1 cultivator and processor license. And there are 37 licensed cultivators in Ohio, you guys. Wow. Well, man, I smell a RICO case coming on this. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say, but I definitely think there's some antitrust violations. I think the federal government could possibly get involved, because I'm willing to bet that all of the MSOs that we mentioned yesterday that are filed on in this suit are all in multiple states, and so I think that qualifies possibly as a possible federal RICO case. But I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this.
It's not surprising at all.
Right?
I mean, it's not shocking.
No.
When I read the article, the only thing that surprises me is it hasn't happened sooner.
Really? Why does it surprise you that it hasn't happened sooner, Liz?
Because they are big corporations.
Oh, big corporate weed, huh?
Yeah. And, while that's all good and wonderful, they cannot monopolize the industry, and that's where they're looking to go.
Interesting. Todd, what do you have to say about all this, bro? Are you familiar with this case at all that we covered yesterday?
Bit.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks like, the typical, corporate cannabis wannabe takeover.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, their market share isn't enough for them, right? They have to, ruin it for the mom and pop shop who's really, trying to just make a living. I mean, small businesses run this country way more than corporations. And, the fact that cannabis is becoming corporate, I think it's just bad for cannabis.
It is
honestly.
bad. Well, first of all, they sell bad cannabis. You know what I mean? And then so that's bad for cannabis right there. That's it's a total mid zone out there in a lot of these places, and so it's very, very, very dissettling, I would say.
Yeah, it's typical case of money talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they put all their money in politics. They get laws passed that favor themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Florida. It's a prime example.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Oh, Brandon Krieger says, I heard Trent over on TDR proudly declaring himself as a snitch. Oh, man, that's a rough one right there. That is a pretty rough one right there. Oh, man.
Snitches get stitches.
That's right. That's what usually happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I just imagine, Todd, that with all these MSOs being involved in this, what state do you think is going to be next to file a similar suit? It has to be a limited market state where MSOs monopolize the market licensure.
Well, where do they monopolize the market? I think in Michigan. I think what's happening in California. There's a
California
conglomerate of MSOs out there.
No, there's not. No. California is not one of those states, buddy. It's not a limited license state. Limited license states.
Just asking, bro. I don't know. I'm asking you.
No. And I'm just saying. No, that is not. I personally think Illinois is going to be the next state to file some type of suit like that, especially since they have so many other problems going on. But I think possibly there's a few other possibilities. I'm trying to maybe Missouri, possibly. Florida is not, because they're just medical. You know what I mean? And they have to keep everything, and they have to keep everything within the store. So Florida is eliminated from this conversation.
Well, it would be one thing to see a bunch of states get together and make it a class action suit.
Well, that's what I'd be hoping that the federal government would do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not necessarily this is a criminal suit, not necessarily for money. I would say I would think that this would be a criminal suit. You know, it's kind of like when they have a hurricane in Florida, Liz, and they start selling $20 bottles of water, and then they arrest those people for price gouging because of a natural disaster and whatnot. It's that kind of a thing is what these guys are doing, and everybody knows that limited licensure markets allow for these MSOs to keep prices artificially high within their states. I mean, you see it in New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
You know, maybe New Jersey will be the next state to do that. And Limiting says he agrees with Illinois. He also says Arizona and Nevada. I don't know if Nevada is necessarily a limited licensure state, if I would classify that as a limited licensure state.
Mm-hmm. Nevada is definitely a limited license state.
You would classify it as that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can't get a new license right now if you wanted one. Right? Unless you bought somebody's license, right? And then you can definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not giving out any more cultivation, dispensary, or testing licenses. They're just not. And, the big player here is GTI.
Yeah. Well, they're one of the parties that are named in this lawsuit in Ohio. So trickle down.
Yeah, they ran a whole campaign to change testing laws and change legislation, and they're definitely spending the money to tilt everything in their favor for sure.
Interesting. Well, on that, we are going to roll into the golden voice himself, Mr. Todd Denkin. And Todd has been a C-level executive in the cannabis and hemp industry since 2009. He is successfully launching 2 publicly traded cannabis companies in 2009, Phototron Holdings, and in 2014, Digipath Labs, the #1 cannabis testing lab in the Silver State of Nevada. And Todd now hosts Becoming the King of Pot on YouTube and other streaming platforms everywhere. It is none other than the golden voice himself in the Silver State, Mr. Todd Denkin.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No applause, just throw money.
Yeah, I bet.
Thank you, Jason, and hi everybody on the East Coast over there getting high at noon, and you folks over here on the West Coast and high at 9. Welcome. I have some tax news to talk about because congressional researchers analyze whether denying marijuana business tax deductions under 280E is unconstitutional. Already we're looking at this? As the federal government considers rescheduling marijuana, congressional researchers have examined the tax consequences for cannabis businesses under current law, particularly whether denying the industry federal tax deductions via IRS Code 280E violates the Constitution. The Congressional Research Service, known as CRS, explained that marijuana Schedule I status under the Controlled Substances Act causes cannabis businesses to be treated differently for tax purposes. Under 280E, these businesses cannot claim tax deductions or credits. Despite legal challenges, the industry has largely failed to overturn 280E, including on constitutional grounds. The Northern California Small Business Assistance, Inc. versus Commissioner case, marijuana company argued that 280E imposed an unconstitutional penalty under the 8th Amendment's excessive fines clause. Court denied the motion, with most judges finding that disallowing deductions is not a penalty under the 8th Amendment. Marijuana is rescheduled from Schedule I to Schedule III. Cannabis businesses may get relief from 280E. President Donald Trump and a guy mentioned 50,000 times, or no, 5,000 times in the Epstein files.
You're so full of it.
Signed an executive order directing Attorney General Pam Bondi to accelerate the process, but its timeline remains uncertain. Bondi is expected to address lawmakers soon, as soon as they figure out what to do with this whole Epstein debacle. A recent poll found strong public support for the president's directive, with 83% of respondents favoring the executive order. Meanwhile, the IRS has warned cannabis companies not to claim deductions prohibited by 280E. The agency has offered limited guidance, but clarified that in 2020 that cannabis businesses may reduce gross receipts by their cost of goods sold those standard deductions are not allowed. This update came after criticism from the Treasury Department's watchdog, which urged the IRS to provide clearer guidance for the marijuana industry. Legal experts note that continued enforcement of Section 280E has created significant financial burdens for state legal cannabis businesses. Without the ability to deduct ordinary and necessary business expenses such as rent, utilities, and employee wages, these companies often face effective tax rates that far exceed those of other industries. Advocates argue that this disparity not only stifles business growth, but also undermines efforts to bring cannabis operations into the regulated tax-paying economy. Looking ahead, the outcome of federal rescheduling efforts and potential legislative reforms could dramatically alter the landscape for marijuana businesses. If Congress or regulatory agencies move to change marijuana's classification, or if new tax laws are enacted, cannabis companies could gain access to the same deductions and credits enjoyed by other legal enterprises. Until then, industry leaders and lawmakers are likely to continue pressing for clarity and fairness in federal tax policy as it relates to marijuana. I'm Todd Denkin with High at 9 News. And what do you guys think about 280E and the bullshit that it creates? You know, if you're in a legal business, you should be able to make tax deductions like every other legal business. If you're breaking the law, you should not be able to make tax deductions. So the fact that cannabis industry has been fighting for this since day one, literally since day one, it's just mind-boggling. You know, everything started with medical marijuana, and you know, there's not a lot of taxes. You know, all those hospitals are federally funded, right? So they get tax breaks. They can do whatever they want, and if it's medicine, why isn't it deductible? Anyway, don't get me started. 280E is a pain in the ass. The fact that cannabis companies cannot deduct standard business deductions is criminal.
It is, but I think it hits the mom and pops much harder than the MSOs. The MSOs have accountants that can figure out ways to get all that in there. And it's the mom and pops that are the ones that are really, really suffering here.
Well, Liz, on that, it's not really necessarily the MSOs, although the MSOs do have more money to be able to pay these types of things and whatnot. But what it really boils down to is the fact of being vertically integrated, because if you're vertically integrated, then you are able to cost differentiate a number of your 280E liability much better. So the people that are hit the hardest on 280E more than anybody are retailers. Retailers are hit harder than anybody because there's actually zero ways to finagle any deductions. If you're vertically integrated, there's a number of ways that you can that you can offset a lot of your 280E exposure through different mechanisms of being vertically integrated. And so that's why people say that the MSOs, you know what I'm saying, don't have as much 280E liability, is because of that point, because they're all vertically integrated operations. But you are correct in the fact that the smaller operators do have a harder time because a lot of them aren't business savvy and the ability to raise significant amounts of capital to be able to offset these different liabilities and whatnot. Whether or not it's criminal, I'm not too sure if I'm gonna go that far to say that it's criminal. I would go as far as to say that I believe that all taxes that any American pays to the IRS is criminal, because I don't think that we should be paying the IRS anything, and I think President Trump needs to abolish the IRS probably right before April 15th, and then that would ensure that Republicans win the midterms. And that would be my strategy. Just, you know what I'm saying, just blow the whole IRS thing up, just gone. You guys are all eliminated right before April 15th. That would be the best play.
How do you pay firemen? How do you pay firemen?
With tariffs.
Cops?
With tariffs. What, hold on, cops get paid.
Americans.
Hold on, cops get paid through asset forfeiture.
Americans?
Cops get paid through asset forfeiture, Todd. You know how this game works.
Okay, so all of the asset forfeiture is going to pay for every cop.
Oh,
I'm sure
in the country.
Pay for between taxes or
and
between
then they're going to start capturing more shit.
Hey,
that's for sure.
Hey, you know,
I don't know why you like living in a police state where you want the cops to just take whatever you want.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You asked me how they would be funded, and I said that's how they'd be funded. I mean, the real answer. You didn't want to hear. You didn't want to hear the first answer that I said, which is tariffs. You didn't want to accept that.
Tariffs is just stupid. It's just another tax.
No, I'm totally good with tariffs.
You and me pay.
I'm totally good with tariffs. I'm totally fine with the tariffs. I want more tariffs and more tariffs on more countries. And let's you know what I'm saying? Let's make it happen.
Why do you want to pay more for goods?
Because I don't care that much about that part of it, Todd.
You don't care for paying more for goods?
No, that doesn't bother me at all one bit.
You're a rich guy?
I'd rather pay more for stuff and then pay less tax and not pay taxes. Yeah, I'm totally fine with it because then
it's the same.
Well, no, it's not. It's not, Todd, because then it's all relative based off of how much of a consumer you are. You know what I mean? I'm not that big of a consumer. I probably pay more taxes than I would under a tariff structure. With taxes, I would save more money. So that's why I want it. I'm not a big consumer. I'm not a sucker for all these marketing campaigns. I don't all of a sudden see something and like, oh, I need to go buy that.
Okay.
So, you know, that's where I come from on that one. Shout out to tariffs.
Okey-doke.
Tariffs are great. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. But, you know, 280E does need to go away. You know, the other part about this, Todd, is I feel that a lot of people think that Schedule 3 is going to remove their 280E liability, Todd. And I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure I'm buying that. I think.
I you know, if CVS and Walgreens get involved, believe me, they're going to be able to make tax deductions.
Well, I don't see CVS or Walgreens getting involved even under a Schedule 3 structure, Todd. I don't see that. Maybe. I doubt it, though. I doubt it.
There's a reason there's a green cross on all the Walgreens across the country.
There's not a green cross on Walgreens across the country. The only green crosses I ever see. The only green crosses I ever see.
Start looking and see if you.
I will. I have a Walgreens right down the street. They have a big red sign. But you know where I do see green crosses at everywhere is all throughout Europe. All throughout Europe, they got the big green cross signs everywhere on all of their pharmacies. Every single one of them has a big green cross. I have not ever seen that out here in the U.S. And you're saying that at Walgreens, Todd?
Everywhere, bro. Yep.
I have not seen it. I'm gonna take some pictures as I drive around Huntington Beach today, and because I have to go to San Diego right immediately following this show. I'm gonna be in San Diego tomorrow.
Dude, you could just Google Walgreens green cross. You see,
pictures. I don't Google. I need to see it for myself. I need to see it in real life. I don't trust things on the internet.
Right?
No.
I have one down the street, so when I pass it, I'm going to pay attention.
Yep.
You can't trust the information superhighway.
I can't. It's too much of it.
But if it was on the internet,
too much of it is ops. I can't trust a lot of it. Can't trust.
Don't believe what you see.
I believe
that's the GOP talking point.
You're so silly. I believe a lot of those things that I see. You know what I mean?
Don't believe what you see.
But on that's cute, Todd. We're gonna roll into our next commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
Rescheduling cannabis, which was classified as more dangerous than fentanyl. Trump's action will destroy the cartel's illicit black market, expand medical research, and ensure seniors and veterans safely receive the care they need. Thank President Trump for delivering on another America First promise.
I know it's cold. Mommy's turning up the heat. Yes, she is.
Oh, yeah. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And please make sure that you're following us on X and Rumble, as those are the most two stable platforms in the metaverse.
Under President Trump, America is back. Trump's delivered the largest tax cut in history, putting more money in our pockets and restored America's economic dominance. Promises made, promises kept. Now it's time to fulfill another promise from President Trump and reschedule cannabis, which supports over 400,000 jobs and creates billions of dollars in economic growth. Reschedule cannabis and stack another win, Mr. President. America First Agriculture Action Inc. is responsible for the contents of this advertising.
Oh, and we are back. And Todd, in Limonene in the chat is like, let him explain the Walgreens thing. And so they want to hear what you have to say in regards with this, Todd.
Sure.
Why you think?
So I believe that all of the major drug dispensers like Walgreens and CVS and used to be Ecker Drugs in Florida, I believe they've all been lobbying for this switch to the Schedule 3 because it's another stream of revenue for them, right?
Okay.
I believe that they all donated to Trump's campaign in the promise of making this happen. Now, will the legislation happen? I don't know if the legislation is ever going to happen because, Capitol Hill is so divided. Right, so I don't know if they're ever going to do anything about it. We've talked about this in
but Todd,
episodes.
it's not Capitol Hill that's creating these parameters and guidelines. It's the DOJ and HHS. It has nothing to do with Capitol Hill.
Another chaotic bullshit organization.
That's all good. I'm good with that. I can totally accept that. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Sure, but Congress is going to have to pass the laws.
No, it's not. Right? No. Congress don't got no play in this. Now, Congress can pass a law separately, codifying or even going further.
Codifying what the DOJ comes up with?
Yeah, they could pass a law codifying it because basically when the DOJ puts it in, any new AG can reverse that policy, and Congress could pass it and codify it and make it a permanent fixture. But, however, once it's there, it's done until someone else comes in and changes it.
Yeah.
Doesn't need a vote of Congress.
I think that's going to happen. You're right. So Walgreens has been putting up green crosses on their signs for about 10 years now, and I believe that was a show of solidarity with the cannabis consumer. And I think that Walgreens wanted to identify and start branding early. Because we've been looking at, you don't even notice it at your Walgreens because I'm telling you, they're everywhere. And they've been branding themselves as a cannabis-friendly drugstore all of these years. Simply by putting that green cross up there, right? It's because it's an international symbol for medical cannabis.
I mean, but it's not an international symbol for medical cannabis because all the pharmacies in Europe have green crosses on their doors, and they're not necessarily selling cannabis.
I don't know. Have you seen them, or did you see pictures on the internet?
Oh no, I've seen them. I've seen them in real life, and I've seen them 10, 20 years.
Do you?
I have actual pictures of these green crosses at all of these different pharmacies in London, in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, in Brussels, all throughout all of Europe. I've seen it. I've witnessed it with my own eyes.
They're all cannabis friendly, and they're all
no, there's not. There's no
setting the stage to brand properly.
Well, I'm just saying that in the ones in Europe, there's no cannabis inside of there. Maybe in some of them now, but when I was there was
there's no cannabis
in any
inside
of
the
them.
Walgreens either. It's just loosening. It's
so you're saying
branding.
You're saying it's a psyop.
No, I'm saying it's subtle branding.
It's a psyop. Todd.
It's preparing for the future. If all of a sudden cannabis is available at Walgreens, I'm going to know it because there's a green cross out front. Oh shit, there it is. Now that I'm looking for it, right? But I've seen it subliminally for 10 years.
Interesting.
Anyway, that's what I believe.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, Todd. We love to hear what you believe. We're all about it. I believe I can fly. I believe
the children are the future.
I see what you're doing there. I see where you're going there. Todd.
Oh, we're going to roll right into Miss Liz Quinn. Liz is a senior cannabis advocate who became passionate when she found herself in a very overwhelming cannabis industry with no help or education. And now, as a senior super stoner, she is lighting up the way by bringing education to seniors and bringing senior awareness to the cannabis industry. As the fastest growing demographic in the industry, she says, we are the new target audience. It is none other than Miss Liz Quinn.
Thank you so much, and good morning or good afternoon to wherever you are, whether you're on East, West, or in the middle. And we're going to talk about Kansas. Kansas Health Committee introduces comprehensive medical cannabis bill. The cannabis bill filed by the House Committee on Health and Human Services, requested by State Rep. Fairchild, would establish a comprehensive medical cannabis program. Kansas is one of the few states that don't have a medical cannabis program at this time. House Bill 2752, dubbed the Kansas Health Reform Act, was officially introduced in the state legislature yesterday. If passed, the proposal would create the Kansas Medical Cannabis Agency within the Department of Health and Environment. This agency would oversee licensing for dispensaries, cultivation facilities, manufacturers, and testing labs. Patients with qualifying conditions, defined broadly as any temporary or permanent illness that limits major life activities or could cause harm if untreated, would receive identification cards under the bill's patient and caregiver protections. Caregivers, including family members or licensed facilities, could assist patients, and the legislation explicitly safeguards patients' rights by ensuring no disqualification from medical care, organ transplants, or firearm ownership based solely on medical cannabis use. The certification process would allow medical providers such as physicians, physician's assistants, or advanced practice registered nurses to certify patients without fear of professional repercussions as long as they adhere to this established standards. A robust regulatory framework would implement a seed-to-sale tracking system to monitor production and sales, enabling dispensaries to sell patients and caregivers while enforcing strict rules on packaging, labeling, and advertising. Possession limits would start at 4 ounces of dried cannabis every 30 days, with provisions for higher amounts via dual physician certification. Additionally, a 4% tax on medical cannabis sales would establish the Medical Cannabis Tax Fund to support administration, research, public health initiatives, mental health programs, substance abuse prevention, and even property tax relief for seniors. Finally, the bill promotes expungement and decriminalization by removing cannabis from the state's Uniform Controlled Substance Act, allowing the expungement of prior cannabis-related convictions and sealing records for offenses that are now decriminalized. Kansas remains one of the few states without a medical cannabis program, despite neighboring states like Missouri and Oklahoma having established markets. The bill cites federal shifts, including the DEA's proposal rescheduling of cannabis to Schedule III and congressional protections for state programs as rationale for the move. What do you guys think about that?
Kansas. Man, Todd, Dorothy and Toto are going to be able to get some CBD relief pretty soon, it looks like.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And your little dog, too. What do you think? Todd, you're on mute, buddy.
I'll get you high and your little dog too.
I love it, bro. I think this is great news. I think this is great. It's a much needed relief for Kansas. I think this will probably help the whole Nebraska situation too, going on with cannabis doing this. I mean, they were the main two states right there. We all know that Idaho's probably going to be the last holdout in the nation overall. I would say of putting some type of
What state did you say is the last holdout?
Idaho.
Idaho. I think Utah will be.
Utah already has a medical program. What are you talking about?
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they've had a medical program for years. Very robust, you know what I'm saying? Very, very, very robust thing going on. It's right next to you, Todd. How do you not know that? They're your neighbors.
Yeah, I don't know. I stay out of Utah.
Stay out of Utah. You don't like to go to the film festivals, huh, Todd? I
have been to Sundance. Yes, I do enjoy that.
Okay.
And skiing is really good there too, but I only go there if I have to.
You know, I went to Salt Lake City one time, and this was back when like there was nothing there, and it was like very, very illegal. You know what I'm saying? And I had a great time. I smoked next to a cop car. Took my picture, smoking next to the cop car. It was a pretty.
Sounds like you were young.
I was young for sure. I mean, I'm still young, Todd. You know what I mean? Still younger than you. You know what I mean?
Well, everybody's younger than me.
Well, you know,
I wouldn't be too sure.
Well, not Liz, but you know,
I stayed at the most fabulous hotel. It was called the Grand America Hotel in Salt Lake City. It was so awesome. So awesome, Todd. Nice. It was fantastic. I love that hotel.
First time I was in Salt Lake City was in 1981, before you were born.
No, that's not before I was born, buddy.
Oh,
no.
Okay. 1981.
I was born in the 70s.
Oh, it's 79?
No, 78.
Oh, yeah. 78.
Yeah. Yes.
78, I was in high school.
See?
78, I'd already graduated high school.
See, look at this. Look at you guys. You guys showing
was out working. I was a nurse. Yep.
Nice. Look at that. Look at that, you guys. Man, Kansas. I think this is great news for Kansas. I'm really excited about this.
I agree. I am very excited for them.
I hope this moves forward.
I hope you're right. I hope it does open the door for the rest of the Midwest who is a little uptight about cannabis.
Yeah. I mean, there's only a few states left. There's only a handful of states left that need to have some kind of form of medical in there. You know what I mean? And so, you know,
absolutely.
And we're gonna have we have a Nebraska story update on our last story of the day, but. Speaking of that, let's roll into our final commercial of the day, and we will be right back.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, you know? And I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
I was very disappointed when I did that, Todd. Very, very, very.
Will's Gemini is very, very good.
Well, you know, I am a Gemini, so you know what I mean. So I get that.
Explains the dual personality.
Oh, you're so funny, Todd. So funny.
I pride myself on good comedy.
Yep. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let me just get this last post up, and I'm going to go into this next story. I think it's very, very interesting, Todd, and I'm glad you're going to be able to stick around to hear this, because you know what I love.
Sure you don't need to check your TikTok first?
You know what I really love, Todd? You know what I really love, Todd? Well, Todd, I was out there promoting you just now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I really love, Todd, is I love Democrat infighting.
Democrat infighting?
Democrat infighting, yep. And that's what this story's all about.
Do you like the Republican infighting as well?
Republican infighting is not, they're not as good as, it's not as entertaining as watching the Democrats infight. You know what I mean?
Really? I think it's pretty fun watching Marjorie Taylor Greene go against her party and her cult leader.
I actually like Marjorie. She's all right. She's all right. And I know you guys say she's all right. You know who I like on the Democratic side a lot? Who actually seems like they have the most sense out of everybody? Out of Pennsylvania. What's his name? Why is his name drawing a blank right now? Out of Pennsylvania. Josh? No, definitely not Josh. He's a total loser. The senator.
You like the senator who was just arrested for child porn?
No, the senator from Pennsylvania. The one always wears hoodies.
I can't really name senators. They're not rock stars to me.
That always wears hoodies.
No idea.
Oh, son of a... Oh, man. I'll think of his name. I'll get it before you.
Tall, goofy dude?
Anyways. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Todd, he has bald head like you. He's your brother from another mother.
Federer?
Yeah, Fetterman.
Yeah.
Yep, John Fetterman. Thank you. Yep. I like John Fetterman. Anyways, the amended cannabis market bill passes despite a split among Senate Democrats. Todd, the revisions concern sales and possession that remain illegal after the market opens. A Virginia Senate panel on Wednesday approved revisions to a retail cannabis market bill that exposed Democrats' divisions on how to penalize underage possession and other potential crimes. Senate Bill 542, introduced by State Senator Lucretius Aird, a Democrat from Petersburg, which would allow adult use cannabis sales for people 21 and over to start on January 1st of 2027, made it out of Senate Courts of Justice Committee with multiple amendments from Senate Majority Leader Scott Servell, a Democrat from Fairfax, the committee's chair, to increase or keep penalties for illegal cannabis sales, possession, and distribution. Servell argued that cannabis-related crimes should align with those already on the books for alcohol, and that without penalties, there would be no incentive for people to use or to try to enter the legal retail market. Aird said the changes go against Democrats' initial effort to address racial disparities in weed arrests and current bills to allow people with marijuana offenses to get those sentences changed, in a quote. "It takes us backwards," Aird said about the changes while presenting the bill. "And it is unimaginable that after years of this coming before us, we are now going to go in the opposite direction of where we were trying to go with a balanced regulatory structure." The inter-party dispute offers a view of how split key Senate Democrats are on the future of cannabis-related crimes as they look ahead to working with House Democrats on legislation to send to Governor Abigail Spanberger. While both had other senators back them, Aird got support from the public speakers who addressed the panel and from some unlikely allies, the committee's Republicans, in a quote. "We've had 5 years to come up with a plan, which it appears we still don't have because we're amending it on the fly, and this is the second committee that it's been on," said State Senator Mark Peakey, a Republican from Lynchburg. "But we're now in the situation where we just adopted amendments to the plan where we're still going to prosecute people in certain communities who are selling marijuana without a license and make them felons and give them mandatory minimums, which I think is what we were trying to avoid when the law passed 5 years ago," he says. And that was a Republican, Todd. Servell's amendments, which Republicans spoke out against but ultimately voted for, match many laws concerning alcohol. When alcohol was made legal again, I'm sure the moonshine community also had their opinions about it, Servell said. And after Aide told the committee she didn't back his ideas, Aird countered that a new regulatory framework for cannabis sales shouldn't be based on Virginia's alcohol laws, which she and Servell appeared to agree should be updated. One amendment elevates the first conviction for illegal sales of cannabis to a Class 1 misdemeanor, which comes up with with a year in jail and a $2,500 fine from the Class 2 misdemeanor proposed in Aird's original bill. State Senator Cry Deeds, a Democrat from Charlottesville, voiced support support for the amendment, saying without penalties in the law, there was no real incentive to become licensed as a dealer. That's your opinion, Aird responded. Buying cannabis from someone without a license and underage possession is also a Class 1 misdemeanor under the amended bill, rather than the $25 fine and substance abuse and marijuana education class required that Aird envisioned. Sorvell said people under 21 convicted of these crimes could have the charges deferred or dismissed, telling senators the aim was to draw parallels between marijuana and alcohol. In a quote, "I'm just going to repeat that we have worked so hard to decriminalize this and not to put kids in the justice system for using cannabis," said State Senator Jennifer Boyskiow, a Democrat from Fairfax, said. "I just would like for us to be very careful about undoing all that." And one of the amendments maintains certain penalties for illegal cannabis sales and distribution that Aird wants to repeal, including keeping illegal possession of more than 5 pounds of marijuana with the intent to sell, punishable with possibly 5 to 30 years in prison. That amendment, which Sorvell argued just kept laws that have existed since 2021, drew heavy criticism from Boy Scout State Senator Jennifer Carroll Foy and Democrat from Prince Williams and others. 30 years, Mr. Chair? Boy also asked Sorvell. 5 to 30? Yeah, for 5 pounds or more, 5 to 30. That's also subject to suspension by a judge. It's not a mandatory minimum. And that makes it so much better, Aird said. Mr. Chair, I think we're going to be keeping our courts and our prisons in good stead, Boyosco added. Hopefully we have a robust retail market too, Sorvell said. And advocates who lined up in support of legalization used their speaking time to let senators know they weren't in favor of the amendments to the committee approved, and no one spoke in opposition to the measure. Valerie Slater, executive director of Rise for Youth, spoke out about her concerns over the harms that the amendments could have on children. She highlighted data from fiscal years 2019 to 2024 showing that marijuana-related complaints from schools increased from 17% to 54% in that span. She says, There is this old antiquated way of thinking that we've got to criminalize it in order to make sure that everyone abides by it, Slater told VPM News after she addressed the committee. Before the final vote to advance the bill to the Senate Finance Appropriations Committee, Peake offered his thoughts to Democrats. It is a real challenge facing us right now and a very short time to fix it. Good luck. And in the end, the panel advanced the amended bill on a party line vote. In a quote, I'm also just going to remind you of much of the data when we take this harsher approach, which is that it has geographic and racial disparities for Black Virginians, low-income communities, and urban neighborhoods. I'm not sure if that is your intent, but that is certainly what you have done as we try to stand up a new marketplace. Chelsea Higgs-Wise, executive director of the Richmond-based nonprofit Marijuana Justice, also spoke against the revisions during the committee meeting and says, even though Virginia has a majority of Democrats in power right now, it is still really split on the values that we are using and standing in moving forward for Virginia legalization, Wise told the VPM News after the final vote. Wise expressed optimism that the Senate Finance Committee could scrap the amendments before they get to the Senate floor for a final vote. But whatever legislation senators approve will have to meld with the proposal that comes out of the House of Delegates. Delegate Paul Krizek, a Democrat from Fairfax, is carrying the House version that still has the November 1st, 2026 start time that lawmakers floated late last year. He told VPM News late last week that the legislation is likely headed to a conference committee where legislators will iron out major details behind closed doors before a final bill goes up for a vote. Then Spanberger will get a chance to weigh in on more changes to come. And Aird called the changes made to her bill disappointing. But when asked whether it was the end of the line, she told VPM News on Wednesday, it's not over till it's over. Well. And Todd has dropped off because he heard all that Democrat infighting and he had to go. But I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this, Liz.
It's so discriminatory.
Yeah.
If you don't want unlicensed
But Liz,
dealers, for lack of a better term, and it's everybody. We don't go to the poor areas, the black areas. We go everywhere.
You know what this bill tells me, Liz? This bill tells me that the trappers just need to get smarter. They need to keep their trap house in DC, where and then just drive less than 5 pounds into Virginia and not have to worry about it. Okay, but don't send their boxes into Virginia. Send your boxes into DC. That's what this law tells me. Okay, that's what this law tells me. In reading it, a lot of it is totally ridiculous. I'd love me some Democrat infighting over this. It's just so entertaining to watch. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I have to understand some of the viewpoints, because what they don't want to have happen is they don't want Virginia to become the next New York.
No.
And so you do have to have some criminal penalties involved somewhere, or else people.
No, absolutely.
Otherwise you just have to deschedule cannabis and open it and let it be a free market. And you know what I'm saying? And the reality of that is that, you know what I'm saying? The market consolidation will just make it to where it's not cost effective for people to be involved in illicit activity anymore. It's the same reason why people don't have cows at their home and make their own milk, because it's not cost effective. It's a lot cheaper and easier to just, you know what I'm saying, go and buy it from the grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. While I am a very huge supporter of home grow, that's something that's very costly too. It's not
cheap.
No, you don't just plant the seeds and walk away and water it when you remember. It's a process, and it's a process that you need to invest in. So it's easier and cheaper sometimes just to go to the dispensary and get what you need.
Yep. I'm saying yep.
I think any penalties need to be across the board. The penalties should not work just for some people.
Fair enough. I mean, we want the system to work for everybody, and we want there to be, you know what I'm saying, a lot of good things that are going on. You know what I mean?
And why do you have to recriminalize it to make changes to what you already have in place? Yes, you have to do other things, but you don't have to criminalize it to get the same effects.
Well, this is the thing, is that people only respect the stick, Liz, and that's what the government has as a stick, is criminalization. I wonder if it would just work if they, sometimes I just wonder if it would just work if they gave you a fine, right? And then said, if you don't pay the fine by this time period, then we take you to jail and you do the time, you know what I'm saying? And then, until your fine is paid off based off of the money that they get from you being in jail. Maybe that's a solution.
But another idea would be, all right, you get a fine, but if you make yourself legal, we will, reverse it and give them the opportunity to do it the right way.
Well, no, that doesn't make sense with a marketplace, to give them the opportunity to do it the right way. That doesn't make sense, Liz. Either they want to do it the right way or they don't. It's not like doing it the right way is your probation for doing it the wrong way. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a complicated situation.
I just think everybody should have the opportunity to do things.
I'm all for that.
Or for this bit in this industry, because people are very passionate.
The thing about it is what's that road? The road to hell was paved with good intentions. Yep. And so, that's ultimately what it comes down to, Liz. So we got to keep that in
absolutely.
mind. We got to keep that in mind. And I have one final story for you, Liz. Are you ready for it?
I am.
I promised you, and we're going to end on some good news. I think it's some good news, possibly. We're going to go back to the Midwest in Nebraska, where Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana announces a statewide town hall tour, you guys. That's right. The Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana are going on tour. Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana, better known as NMM, have announced Monday it will hold a statewide town hall tour across Nebraska. The town halls will explain the current state of Nebraska's medical cannabis program, what patients and families need to know on how ongoing legislative and regulatory decisions may affect access. Patients, caregivers, healthcare professionals, law enforcement, and community members are encouraged to attend and ask questions and stay engaged on the issue. In a quote, Nebraskans voted clearly in support of medical cannabis, but many questions remain about implementation, access, and patient protections, said NMM Executive Director Krista Eggers. These town halls are about education, transparency, and accountability, and about reminding decision makers that Nebraskans already spoke at the ballot box, and we will not be silent while that voice is ignored. The town hall schedule includes pop-ups in Scottsbluff Public Library at 1809 3rd Avenue on Wednesday, February 11th, North Platte Plaza Ranch at 201 East 6th Street on Thursday, February 12th, Grand Island Pizza Ranch at 1016 Deers Avenue on February 13th, and Aurora Public Library at 1603 L Street on Saturday, February 14th. That's Valentine's Day. And Lincoln IBEW Local 265 located at 1409 Old Farm Road on Monday, February 16th. So if you're in Nebraska, make sure you check that out. Make sure you pick up some corn and go and get your weed corn and have maybe some candy corn and maybe even some popcorn and have a great time on this tour. What do you have to say, Liz, about this?
Remember corncob pipes?
Oh, with your corncob pipe. Oh, that's cute.
Remember?
That's cute. That's cute. Yes, yes.
That was the first time I ever smoked was out of a corncob pipe.
No way.
Yeah.
Get out of here. That is
in the parking lot of my high school with a couple of people. Yep.
Oh man, some bad boys.
Corncob pipes were very popular back in the day.
Some bad boys out there. Was it in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Get out of here. What year was this,
Yep.
Liz?
Huh?
What year was this?
1975.
Wow. 3 years before I was even born. Look at that.
I was getting high.
You are
Yep.
a senior super stoner. Look at that. Look at that, Liz. Wow.
Yeah, but I think this is great for Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. So now that you mentioned that everyone's smoking out of corncob pipes, I have to wonder if Frosty the Snowman was actually lit as well.
Probably. That's why he didn't feel the cold.
That's why he didn't feel the cold. Well, baby, it is cold outside. And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high at noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. And thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.